So sustainability, we're here for sustainability today.
So what is your name?
My name's Louise Mirtschin. She's written Mirtschin, it's just spelled. So I'm also a teacher. I teach with Sharon at Kempsey South and at Greenhill in Kempsey as well. Currently on maternity leave. He's 9 weeks today. And I've been using the Young Living oils for nearly 2 years now. Coming up January will be 2 years. But sustainability is something that is being one of those words thrown around for quite a few years now, and we hear about it all the time, but we don't really talk about what it is and what it looks like and how we're doing sustainable practices at home or things like that. So I'm hopefully going to enlighten you a little bit on those things today. And hopefully you will walk away from today going, oh, that's something that I can change, or that's a conversation I'd like to continue later on down the track. And so what does it look like in a day-to-day practice? Gary Young said we're the stewards of the earth. We must set the example. A good way to think of it is what I call the first rule. So our actions, our purchases, our thoughts all should try to align with natural forces or try not to defy them. So natural forces, the earth, it's what we're here for, it's why we're here. If there wasn't an earth, we wouldn't be here pretty much. So Gary's dream is to try and get essential oils into every home. And that's because when we use essential oils, we're using nature to help us in our daily lives. Gary designed and created Young Living with the Seed to Seal promise. So this Seed to Seal promise is a quality commitment and is non-negotiable benchmark that embraces a rigorous quality control standard to ensure each and every product meets the strict specifications. So Young Living will never compromise by adding synthetics, contaminants, cheap fillers, or by using unethical production practices. Young Living Chief Supply Officer Lauren Walker, she guides the process of sourcing products from carefully vetted corporate owned, so that means Young Living owns the farms, also partner farms and the Seed to Seal certified suppliers, and tests them extensively. So if our exhaustive test shows that a product doesn't meet our standards, Young Living doesn't buy it, or she rejects the batch, or Young Living rejects the batch. So because our oils are sourced from these certified suppliers, we're empowered to source conscientiously and with sensitivity to local communities and ecosystems. So we know that with this Seed to Seal practice, Young Living is a sustainable company. We vet and select like-minded suppliers according to these 5 principles: establishing relationships, the Seed to Seal specifications, binding agreements with the certified suppliers, stringent testing, and ongoing audits. So I'm going to leave that there, but if you wish to know more, you can talk to myself or talk to Kim, or we can raise a conversation later, because I want to talk to you about some other things. Right. We want to be spending our money on products that are already supporting sustainable practices. We want sustainability right from the word go. We don't want it just to start with us today. We can all do reuse, recycle, reinvent, remake. We can do that, that's great. I want you to all keep doing that. Don't change that. But I want you to think deeper, think further. Where is the money that we're spending? What is it supporting? Is it supporting the sustainable values that we have? Or is it going to Palmolive or Nestle or some big company that's supporting coal mining and is supporting people stealing water from third world countries? Is it supporting grassroots family businesses, local companies, or is it going to a multi-million-dollar company that CEOs are already richer than half the country? So have a think about the products that you're purchasing and where your money is going. Okay, I got it. We want sustainable right from the word go. So not just to start with us, Young Living has the pledge with the seed to seal. So its authenticity and transparency gives us the peace of mind that our dollar is speaking for the right issues in the world, for now and in the future. Okay, so is your shopping practices supporting the values, and are they aligning with the first rule? So remember, the first rule is, are our actions and our purchases, our thoughts, are they aligning with natural forces, or not, or trying not to defy them? So that's the first rule. So we want to try and always align to support the earth. So we're thinking, all right, we're going to buy from a company. Where do they invest their money? Because we're investing our money by purchasing from them with that company. Where are they investing their money? Are they investing it in organic biodiversity, in local communities, in ecosystems, and supporting ethical transparency? Do they support the local economy, or do they spoil it? Do they look after the water, or do they spoil it? So we need to take responsibility for that. And we take responsibility by purchasing products and from companies that we value. And we know that they value the similar things. So anyway, you understand what I'm trying to say. So we take responsibility for that. We also need to take responsibility for what we are using as stewards of the earth. So if we look after our homes using products that we know contain no chemicals, no phthalates, no synthetics, if we look after our families and our bodies by using products that are natural, are plant-based, completely plant-based, that have no synthetics in them, that aren't going to upset our guts or aren't going to upset acne on our skin and aren't going to cause an allergic reaction or break out in eczema, what other things? Psoriasis. When you get itchy fingers because you've had your hands in detergent all day because you're always washing them and then they get all scaly. That's a reaction from a soap that isn't necessary. If we're making your own using the Dr. Bronner's and the essential oils, your hands don't get as chapped and yucky. So if we're a steward of the earth and we're using products that we know, no, please.
It's really windy.
If we're using products like this that support our values, and we share this knowledge with others by our actions and our purchases, and we have them in our homes, and we have people visit and come and say, oh, what's that on your bench? What are you using? Why have you got that? Where did that come from? Who sells that? Where can I get some? We're sharing that, and we're creating a sustainable change. We're creating those communications and those conversations, allowing that to grow. And so our sustainable thought and our sustainable processes and purchases are then growing so that everyone is learning as we go. So also, Young Living has a new 5x5 pledge released early this year. And two of those aspects are based upon sustainable pillars. So they have empower and they have achieve. So their aim is to reduce their waste to zero waste within a 5-year period. So the 5x5 pledge is 5 different aspects of the business changing in 5 years. And so by 2024, Young Living will have a zero waste footprint, which is incredible considering the size of the company. And its worldwide distribution will have zero waste. That's amazing. So they have a glass recycling plant in the US, but I'm sure that will be coming here as well, which is exciting. And as you'll see today, there's ways to reuse the glass that we have here already. So these pillars are about goals and recognising the changes that still need to occur. So part of this lifestyle is recognising we're not doing everything right, and it's going to be hard to be able to do everything right straight away, but it's about little changes. And so, all right, I've learnt one thing today, how to reuse the little glass bottles as a spray thing much cheaper than the way I was doing it with the $2 bottle from Kmart. So that's a sustainable practice that I can take home and use in my life, and my business, and what I'm doing at home. So take one thing and change one thing a week, or one thing a month, and then get that under control, and then change one other thing. You don't have to do it all at once. It doesn't have to be mind-blowing. Little things, little changes. As the man said earlier in the video we watched, little things will make a big change if we all do one little thing at a time. Okay, another way to be sustainable that we talk a lot about in Young Living is ditching and switching. On the Young Living website, under the 5x5 pledge, they have a group that gives out ideas each month on how we can be more sustainable. So I went through and took the liberty of writing some of them down that I thought were amazing, that some of them we already do, but ways that we can incorporate Young Living into things that we do at home every day. So one of them that they had was a weed killer. And coming into spring, all of the bimbies are coming out, all of the dandelions are coming out, and a lot of people get out the weed and feed, or Roundup, or don't use Roundup please. Roundup is really bad for the bees. The glyphosate doesn't go in the ground like they tell you. It stays in the ground, it goes into your plants, and therefore into the food that you eat, and it actually stays in your body. So no more Roundup please, if I can get one thing through. Yeah, glyphosate doesn't disappear. It stays in the ground, it gets absorbed into the plants and into our bodies, and then there's been studies where it's been found in newborn babies, and that just freaks me out. So you can make your own weed killer with no harsh chemicals by blending some essential oils with salt and dishwashing liquid. Nice and easy. Put it in a spray bottle, squirt it on. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we can reduce our food waste. We can reduce the plastic wrap that we use. Instead of using Glad wrap, you can put a plate on top to put it in the fridge. You can buy the beeswax wraps, or come to one of our local takes and learn how to make your own beeswax wraps with a bit of cotton. Plastic containers. Swap to glass, or reusing them as many times as you can. Try and think no single-use plastic. If you have to use plastic, how can you reuse it? What can you use it again for something else before you buy it? Plastic water bottles. We've heard so much about plastic water bottles and plastic straws in the past 12 months. It's been crazy, all of the ads about the turtles, and the War on Waste did a thing on the ABC about how bad plastic is. So if we try and reduce our plastic, that's another way that we can be sustainable in our daily lives. We can switch to digital copies. So Young Living is actually switching to a digital catalogue from 2019, the end of now. So the product guides are no longer shipped out in October, so you would normally get a product guide in your October ER box for Christmas. They're not doing that anymore, it's all online. And all of the future ones will be online too. Now I wrote down somewhere, there is so much paper being used. Where did I write? This one? Maybe, no. Got notes everywhere.
Can I just say something about straws?
Yes.
Every time I'm out somewhere and I have maybe in a pub or something and they give me a drink and I ask, can I please have a paper straw? And many times they don't have them, they just have the plastic ones.
Yep.
So then I tell them how bad they are and could they please get rid of them and get some paper straws in?
People power.
People don't talk.
Yes.
Then things don't change.
Yes. Yeah. So communication and sharing the knowledge that you have of why plastic is bad and the damage that they do to the environment, and also a change. Like, don't leave them with no answer. There's plenty of alternatives out there. So the paper straws, taking your own. You can buy stainless steel ones. You can buy silicone ones, bamboo ones, pasta ones I've seen. Yeah. So yeah, or not use them at all. Yeah. Sometimes I have a 3.5-year-old as well, so sometimes a straw is useful, but we carry stainless steel in our handbags. We also have cutlery as well. So you can sew up yourself a little bag, knife and fork and spoon and a straw, and easy, sorted. But yeah, absolutely. So having the conversation when you're out, you see someone who hasn't quite got to the point that you're at yet, raise it. Start a conversation. Have a chat with the person next to you in line who's still using takeaway coffee cups. Oh, what a great idea to share. I always carry this with me in my handbag, or I keep my ceramic coffee cup without the lid in my car. So if I'm going somewhere, I've already got my coffee cup with me. There's all sorts of different things. And you know what? If one day you forget, it's okay. Like, you can do it again the next day. So we're not here to say, oh, you're really naughty, slap on the wrist. It's all right. Tomorrow's another day, but you're conscious of it, and each conscious thought will make a better choice tomorrow. Okay, so originally I was going to talk about the paper because photocopies and books and catalogues and magazines and newspapers, they're all online these days. So if you find you're still getting them and you end up, your recycling bin just gets full. A friend of mine shared her daughter just finished year 12 and her textbooks and all of her writing books and stuff, her pile was standing on the table like this. She's finished year 12 now, she's not going to use any of that paper again. It's just going to recycling. So if you have a magazine or newspapers and stuff like that and you still like to read them, how can you reuse them? Preschools, kindergartens, schools all like to have newspapers and magazines for cutting and gluing and exercises like that. You can donate them to your hospital or your medical centre because they always like to have a few to flip through, or switching completely to digital copies so that you don't have those hard copies there in the first place. I wanted to quickly touch on Halloween because we just had Halloween and a lot of people are starting to embrace Halloween here in Australia. I know it's past now, but perhaps for next year you can think about how can you reuse some of your decorations, or instead of purchasing lollies that have the plastic wrap, what's an alternative you can do instead? Trying to make it not a single-use thing, so plastic wrapped around lollies is single-use, it goes straight in the bin, you don't ever use it again. You can get decorations second-hand from Vinnie's often. So just some little things to think about. Op shops are your best friend. You don't have to buy brand new every time. And that's something that I think we've kind of missed. Like at my grandparents' age, they reused everything. My mum always made our clothes out of the curtains that she had or the sheets that were too old, or she was always reusing, repurposing. And I think my generation has kind of skipped that. We've always gone, all right, well, I can buy that brand new for cheap, so I'm not going to learn how to sew. So that's something I'm looking into again. I don't sew very well, but I now have a sewing machine. So that's my phone for this morning. What else was I going to say?
You can use, reuse old sheets and things like that to make your wax wraps out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And paper is great to put down when you're creating a new garden.
Yes, yep. And your cardboard boxes, so Young Living comes in a box. Cardboard boxes are great as the weed barrier for new gardens. Also, I have a fire, so I was using some of mine for fire starters in winter. Also the 3-year-old, she loves to make things with the cardboard boxes, and cardboard boxes are great toys for kids.
And animals. Cats.
What's one other thing? It'll come back to
Sue's the wrapping up underneath.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Oh, that's another thing that Young Living have changed recently, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I was trying to think of something to use that for.
So Young Living have recently changed how they package your ER order each month too. So they used to have either the little biodegradable tubey things, or a plastic bubble wrap. So now they've changed to the stretchy cardboard perforated paper, which is heaps better, and it's lovely to see. And Sue's beautifully decorated the table with it today. So I forget what I was going to talk about before, but my last thing is that all of this talk, so all of this sustainability stuff goes hand in hand with low tox living. The values just are interrelated so much, you can't really separate them. And I was a bit worried that I wouldn't have enough to talk about, which is why I had the paper and I've blabbed on. So, so yeah, it covers many aspects of life and incorporates your entire mindset. That's my last thing. It's a sustainable mindset. And I sort of touched on it before about if you don't get it right today, that's okay, we can do it tomorrow. And that's part of self-care as well, and a sustainable mindset. So we can't always beat ourselves up, or I've been doing this for so long, I've already, I used to use plastic straws every day. That's okay, we know better now, so tomorrow we will do better, or this afternoon we'll do better. So we can't change yesterday, we can just change tomorrow. So part of that sustainable mindset is going, that's all right, we'll try again tomorrow. And having those conversations with each other so that we can support each other, and if we have an idea, share it. So I would like to leave with a quote from Gary Young, and he said, "I can take care of my young living family only if I take care of Mother Earth first." And it just resonates so nicely with the first rule. So thank you.